Krejcikova's run to the title there with Collins, Ostapenko, Rybakina, Paolini, I think all of them are top 8 in the race this year. Like, she's been playing in-form players, and okay, they're maybe not the absolute, not all the biggest names, but they're the in-form players, and she's beaten them all. And like, she's said it before about Big Four, and like,
right. This is where I want to go next. Thank you, Matt.
Like, could you maybe say now that like the Big Four's won the last 4 slams? Like, if you think like Goff, Sabalenka, Swiatek, Krejcikova, and it's not the kind of the onus is on Rybakina now in the slams to kind of show up in the way she has been on the tour. She's won some 500s this year, but Rybakina's not really brought it at the slams, and Krejcikova now has 2. And
so it was about 15 months ago, wasn't it, that this Big Three, women's Big Three concept emerged of Sabalenka, who'd just won the Australian Open and beaten Rybakina, the reigning Wimbledon champion at the time, in an epic final. And you had Iga Świątek, of course, is a dominant world number 1 and French Open champion, and then as of the US Open, it became a Big Four. But it was around about 15 months ago that the Big Three became a thing, and it was also around about that time that Barbora Krejcikova said, well, hang on a second, you say Big Three, I say Big Four, I've won a Grand Slam. And she ended up coming to really regret that, didn't she? Because she was kind of laughed out of town, and she lost a lot of matches soon after saying that. But she's now won as many Grand Slams as Aryna Sabalenka, more than Elena Rybakina and Coco Gauff. Like, is this not vindication for Barbora Krejcikova?
Well, I think it is a little bit. I think one element that we need to remember was when Krejcikova beat Świątek in a couple of finals.
Ostrava.
So was it twice in Ostrava?
Ostrava and Dubai.
Okay, Ostrava and Dubai. Because who's been able to figure out very often Świątek in a final? So while they weren't majors, they got our attention because it was stopping Świątek in a final. But you're right. I think she enters the fray again.
Yeah. I think the thing is, like, obviously Big Four has come out of a term that was used in the men's game, and like, they were defined by their incredible consistency. Like, it wasn't just that they were winning the big titles, they were winning them all the time, like, and the tour titles. And I don't think necessarily that Krejcikova is going to have that level of consistency. I do think she's going to be someone who, well, as her career has shown so far, pops up and is capable of winning. And that's kind of why the term generally doesn't quite feel like it fits on the current situation of women's tennis. Like, you've got these players who are kind of picking up the big titles and getting to the latter stages, and in Świątek's case they're really consistent on the tour, and Sabalenka and Rybakina and Goff have been pretty consistent as well, not winning as much as Świątek, but it just doesn't quite feel like the right term. But I think if you're talking about contenders for big titles, then Krejcikova has to be in there because of her record beating Świątek in finals, winning 2 majors now. Like, she's proven it. Like, when she's fit, when she's playing well, her best tennis can live with anyone. And like, she absolutely deserves to be in the conversation. What we're naming it might be might be the issue.
Right.
And I do think that if you go back and listen to when she said what she said, I think it was more that I'd like to be considered part of a Big Four, not that you should be calling me that. And unfortunately, her form just dropped off a cliff, and she got bad injuries. And then it was, I'm afraid that is one of the things that I think we in the media sometimes do a little, is put things back in someone's face when they've said something, and then they feel a bit embarrassed and awkward about it. But my word, the second thing I wanted to just say, just a final thing about this thing, is I've loved both of her Grand Slam celebrations. Yes, it was a bit awkward for a couple of minutes, but when she actually speaks, the wonder in her eyes, the realisation, the way she looked at that Venus Rosewater dish, and she was almost scared to touch it. And when she took it like it was the most precious thing in the world. And that's just how she was when she won Roland Garros. And I thought, if you wanted to define visually and audibly what is it like to win a Grand Slam title, just show them her celebrations.
And to win it in front of Navratilova, sitting in the royal box, born in her home country, having won 9.
And there was an incredible moment backstage where she goes into the clubhouse and she's meeting all of the past champions that were in the royal box, and there were so many of them today. It was wonderful. And Marion Bartley, Martina Navratilova, Christine Truman was in there as well, former finalist. That was wonderful to see. And she did a bow to them. It was so sort of in the moment and just clearly encapsulated the reverence that she has for them, and you love to see it, don't you? It was incredibly special.